Hi everyone, I'm Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 140. What are you reading? I'm reading Were You Close by Ann Pinkerton. A sister's quest to know the brother she lost. Anne's book is about sibling loss, which, as many of you know, my brother died when I was 10. And we're creating a sibling loss community and a sibling loss book club. And our first meeting is next Monday, the 13th. And we'll be reading Anne's book and discussing Anne's book. Me. And you're doing it right, Alana. I'm accepting you. And sometimes it just takes a while because it's Instagram. Ah, there you are. Hello, you did it.
It did. This is my first Instagram live.
I'm a lot of people's first Instagram live.
I had to switch my phone. I thought I could do it on my computer, but I couldn't.
No,
So,
you have to do it on your phone. Yep.
all right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. I had to pivot with my technology.
Um, and how are you this morning
I'm
or
good.
afternoon for you?
I just woke up from a really aggressive nap with my dog.
Oh,
It's rainy and kind of crappy here, so we had a big snuggle.
your dog is wonderful. What's your dog's name again?
Echo.
Yeah, he,
She.
she. Um, she's beautiful. She's a
Thank.
beautiful dog and
She's
wonderful.
she's a good girl. She's a good snuggler.
I just got a call, but I had muted my phone, so that was surprising. Anyway, um, anything else you'd like to? I know you're a little nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Weird, hey?
yeah. Do you think it's reading your writing or Instagram Live or all of the above or something else entirely?
I think it's reading. This was really fun
Oh, good.
going through this. It was I loved the cues
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, this will be a breeze. And I started writing things down and I'm like, this isn't a breeze. I'm overthinking it. And but it really took me on a journey and
Oh,
it was fun. I would do it
oh,
again.
good. I'm glad. I mean, my hope is that if it's not fun, at least it's, worthwhile. I find it fun to have an excuse to sort of just sit down and think about things that mostly we don't think about much anymore. We just kind of breeze over
Yeah.
because we're grown-ups and we're doing grown-up things or whatever.
And and thinking about it kind of in a different way too. Like I was
Mhm.
like, oh, there's that memory, and it was kind of like a memory, a surface memory, and then I went down deeper, and I was like, oh, but then that, and that was awesome, and yeah, I didn't see my family in a long time, so it was really cool.
Good. Well, hi, Ria. Uh, it's fun when people join. I think Nikki was trying to come, but I don't see her here yet. But she may join us yet. Uh, so do you want to read
Sure,
it? Okay.
okay. So, and I'm number 140. You've had 140 people do this.
Yes, can you believe it? I
That's
I
amazing.
can barely believe it, and I've been here for every one. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really it's very special to me.
This is really special. So thank you for asking me to join you.
Hmm.
Okay, so here's my poem. I'm from a hand-me-down saddle that was too big for me. I'm from clothes my mother made and Mary Smith's pudding. I'm from an open space where you could explore lakes and woods morning to night. From trust, love, the smell of fresh air that lingers on your clothes. I'm from water, peace, quiet, balance, and air. I'm from beachcombers and thick hair. I'm from mom and dad who calls me Bub and uncles who call me Lanny. From hardworking, loyal, sorry, I'm from loyal hard workers and long friendship makers. From take care of your friends and eat your vegetables. I'm from Anglicans who make Christmases special with candlelight services and small rooms filled with music. I'm from Nova Scotia with deep Scottish roots, Spencer's, Cochrane's, and Lowe's. Molasses bread with salty butter, tea brewing on the stove. From my mother's best friend who picked me up at school when I was sick and who was always magically there for every special memory.
Beautiful.
Yay.
It really transported me to Nova Scotia, um, since that's mostly what it was about. And we had talked about it a little, when I was in Bayfield in October, but I don't know, the sort of magic of it. And, I think, I have a child who was very much obsessed with Canada for a while. So I had read about Nova Scotia and it looks beautiful. And your poem made me feel the peace of growing up in a place like that.
Yeah, right. It's
Mhm.
and it took me back there too. That was the nice part.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Because, I live in a big city, and so I'm surrounded by people who live in a big city, and many of us grew up here. And I think you can romanticize places, but I didn't feel like you were romanticizing it. I felt like it was just your experience.
Yeah, it was my experience. It was a pretty cool childhood when I look back on it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, and you're married to someone from your town, which is like amazing.
Well, cool story. He's actually from Nigeria, but we met in high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was a random.
Yeah. So you've taken part of home with you to Toronto.
I sure
Hmm.
have. Yeah. He knows. Actually, he's in Halifax right now.
So you were saying this was fun. Anything else about your experience writing the poem that you thought about or want to share?
It made me want to journal more,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. Like I'm like, there's pieces of my memories that, as you go older, you start to forget,
Hmm.
or you just, you don't think about as often. And I feel like if I journaled more, it would be nice to just look back on these
Hmm.
things.
Yeah, and I
So,
think we don't have I mean, I've had this conversation a lot recently because, I'm part of this sibling loss group and we talk about losing our siblings and those experiences and how when you go to college or university, everyone asks you how many siblings you have. But then as you get older, it's not really a thing, like, because you don't really talk about your family of origin that much. And, which is a relief to me on the one hand. But on the other hand, you don't really talk about any of that anymore. The beauty as well as the sadness. And I do think it's really formative, these experiences.
yeah, it really it reminds you who you are, or at least what your foundation was.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like even the people I never really speak to before after having done a poem, I still feel like I know them in a certain way, having gone through this and listened to it. And so I think there is something special
Well,
there.
as part of going on this, like doing this project, I listened to some other ones that
Hmm.
like some other poems that people have done, and they're very personal.
Yeah.
Some of them are very personal, and I like that.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, like, I saw a woman who shared a poem a few weeks ago, I think it was, or a month ago. Time is not clear to me. And she talked about losing her mother, and now she's thinking about her mother more often. And I do think sometimes that happens too, where you kind of can tap into something you haven't really thought about. She just didn't have space or time. And then once you start to think about it, you're like, oh, you consider it in a different way
Okay,
because we have distance and space
we just
and hopefully safe space to think about things.
we take advantage of time too. We take advantage of like time just passing really quickly, and not taking the time to think about these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that it made you feel like that. I think I have never been much of a journaler, and so I I appreciate this. I feel like the more that I spend time with my younger selves, the more available they are, and it makes me feel, I don't know, like more complete.
Yeah. 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 That's nice.
Hmm.
It's beautiful. And it's something your kids maybe will have someday too. They'll look back on it and have these memories of you.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, obviously there's pictures which I cherish, but there aren't that many, unlike children from now who will have like a million pictures.
Right. Our
But
pictures were very special.
they were, and the ones that like survived and that I actually got my hands on, like even now with all the pictures, I am often the photographer. And so if somebody will send me a picture of myself that I wasn't aware of, I still like it makes me happy, like seeing somebody else's take on something,
Yeah.
but especially like if somebody came across a picture of me from childhood and sent it to me, that would be like magic. Because it would bring back something, like there's something about like seeing the picture of yourself in that outfit. Like, did it make you think? And just even those posed photos we took, because there weren't as many photos. So you would have your like posed
Yeah.
photos. Um, did it make you like, I don't know, think of,
Sparked
take you
so
back?
many, like
Mm-hmm.
my mom, I'm pretty sure my mom made that dress.
Oh.
And I have a vivid memory of going to the dentist in that dress. And how they put that coating on your teeth that had to sit on your teeth.
The fluoride.
The fluoride, and you had to sit there with it in your mouth. It would like
Mm-hmm.
drip down your face. Like I remember that, and I was thinking it was going to get on my dress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a very, very vivid memory of a nightgown I loved very much. It was like, polyester, but I thought it was like silk, satiny, but it was just, and I loved it so much. And I made the mistake of putting on nail polish in it. And I bet you know where the story is headed. And I still remember like, oh, it's ruined. I ruined it and feeling so I can totally feel that feeling of you getting the fluoride treatment. Like, no, don't
No,
get on my
not on
special dress.
my super special. I'm going to have forever.
That's so sweet.
Have it forever.
Things that we had things for long. I mean, you need to grow out of them, but certain things would last.
Yeah.
I still try to do that, and it's humorous because things don't last as long. But I'm still like, oh, I love this. I'm gonna keep it. It have holes in it, but it's very comfy. So,
It's funny as an adult, I realized how many people I thought I was special by having this like little piece of blanket that I've had since I was a kid. And it's shocking to me how many people have this
yeah.
gross fabrics from their childhood that
A little silky. That's what my cousin called her,
are
silky. It was,
silky.
mm-hmm.
It's yeah, it's so special and something that we always hang on to.
Mm-hmm. You still have it?
I have a little tiny piece that's tucked in my pillowcase. I
Oh
used
my
to take
goodness.
it with me everywhere I go, and I can't anymore because I've left it in a hotel room once, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a 5 alarm fire.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't replicate that. So is it the little silky bit or is it the cloth?
No, mine was like it was kind of it was like a throw when it
Hmm.
was alive, and it was a whole piece, and now it's kind of like it's just in ripped pieces. So I've kind of like got a piece that I've taken off of it, and that's the piece that I take around with me. The rest of it in its ratty little mess is in a box in my closet. So I will forever have
So you have it.
take off
I mean, you
of it.
have it in its entirety. Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. No, my cousin had with the silk, with polyester again, around the edges of the blanket. I don't know if you had blankets like that, but so it eventually all wore away because she carried it like this. And so then she just had the silky part left.
That neat
Yeah, and
part.
she would carry around silky. And when she lost it, it was, I mean,
Definitely.
yeah.
She spent her entire life protecting it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like that was my takeaway from her silky was like, oh,
Okay, no,
yeah.
I've
I was
got it.
like, never. I can't put all my heart in silky. Um, but a lot of people do have their blankets, and I have one, but I don't have that like same connect. But I just like kind of looking at it, and I also like looking at how tiny it is and how big it seemed to me at the time. It's like a little square,
Yeah.
and it was covered me very easily. So anyway, and I'm not a person who keeps a lot, but I think blankets are special. Quilts,
That's
blankets.
interesting to me that you really hang on to that, but you're not really a memory.
No, no, I'm really not. Photos that I don't know. Maybe I don't have a lot, but that's sort of a family. We didn't hold on to things, physical things. Sure, we held on to other things, but
I come from a long line of hoarders. Well, my mom, everyone had a memory box, and I have one in my life.
mm,
My husband is like, why do we have this? And I have treasures in there of his from when we were in high school. He's like grateful for it now. I'm like, hey, I've got your rugby number. Look, how cool is that?
so what do you have in a memory box? Is it like a formula, or is it just random things that were of significance?
I've got sheet music from when I used to play the flute, and I think I've got my nephew's baby shoe in there, and I've got my wedding veils in there.
Wow.
Got a wig that I wore for Halloween once.
So it's fairly big,
It's big. It's
the box.
a trunk. Like it's a small,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's a small trunk that's got a lot of random
Mm.
letters and photos and trinkets. My Highland dancing shoes from when I was a kid.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, boxes.
And it moves with you. I mean, I think sometimes because your family's from Nova Scotia and they stayed there,
Yeah.
right? I think it's easier or more of an impulse to keep things maybe when you aren't moving around. Like you don't have to move it. You don't have to pay the movers and you're like, oh,
Yeah, true.
maybe
When you
maybe not.
when you know you're going to be in one spot, and typically like all of that stuff lives at my parents' place,
Mm.
or my nan has a garage in the country, and it's got furniture from when we were living in Halifax that we just thought we would treasure for the rest of our lives, and I'm pretty sure it's garbage. Like it, it's just warped and
So I
weathered.
was gonna say, is it garbage because it's been in her garage getting
Yeah,
yeah.
it was beautiful when it went in there,
Hmm.
but it's wood that doesn't last like it should. It's
It's
silly.
also funny about garages. You put things in there and I almost feel like it's just a stage of getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Like you can't admit to yourself that this is probably never going to be, and then it does get warped and sort of because they're not. I mean, ours is not a very sealed space, so
Oh yeah, this is not a
no.
weatherproof place. Yeah,
So it's like, oh,
well,
okay.
yeah,
But it's like it's a way station between
yeah.
currently in your life and out of your life, and you're like, oh, and it's slowly sort of,
See,
you
this
know.
is the writer, Allison, because you're good with these words. It's a for these in between moments of your life.
Thank you. Because I've just noticed with like a cherished poster, which is like such a kind of a memory box kind of thing. Like it keeps it, it's like, oh, this concert poster from whatever, 19 something. And there's really not a place for it now.
I actually have one framed in my living room.
Oh, do you? What
It's
concert?
so random. It's actually the White
Oh,
Stripes.
well, that's very, I mean,
I, I worked on their tour. I worked on their documentary
oh,
for their
you
tour.
did?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Cool. I'm sure Cody would love to pick your brain. He's a big fan.
Is he?
Hmm.
It was fun. I just did the maritime portion of it, but it was I have the poster from their Halifax one because each city had a different poster.
Yes, that's what the cool people do. Different posters for each city. So they went to Nova Scotia.
Yes, they went to Nova Scotia and Newfoundland,
Wow.
and I think they did too. Yeah,
I mean, I'm guessing not everyone does that. That's a haul.
no, not everyone does that. It
Yeah.
was special, and they were like the whole pitch about this tour was that they were showing up at random places and people could find them. So like fans were literally chasing them down the street.
And I'm sure Meg loved that. She was
Uh,
like, make it stop.
I I wasn't very close to them. I was closer to the producers because I was helping
Right.
them with
Right.
the logistics of them being there. But yeah, they weren't thrilled about
No,
the exposure.
I mean, I think that's part of the reason she stopped. She
Yeah,
just wanted to have a life.
a
And,
little quiet.
yeah. And I appreciate like knowing yourself to that degree and respecting it because I think there's a lot of pressure in our capitalist society to once you gain success, you can't complain about anything you've lost in the process, you know, and I think you do lose things.
Yeah, you lose a lot of autonomy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're not supposed to ever say like, hey, this isn't great.
Yeah.
I don't love this. So I always admired her just saying, this isn't what I want. This isn't what I set out to achieve.
And she never really spoke publicly much. She was very quiet and to herself. And when I was working on the tour, Jack had his wife and his baby with him too.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a very delicate amount of keeping them protected too.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Well,
Yeah, fascinating that you brought up the poster.
I know. That's what's fun about these conversations too, is that I find it very comforting how we are pretty much all connected in some way
Yeah.
and not in ways we might expect. And I find that helpful.
It was funny, Allison, meeting you for the first time last fall. I just felt like I'd known you for a very long time. You were such a natural person to get to know. Plus, you were a ray of light.
Oh,
Like you
thank you.
traveling for a like, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I was excited. I'm excited. It was a special. So, for anyone who doesn't know, we made a short film in October in Canada that I wrote, and Alana and I were both producers, as well as Jen and Jess and Nikki, who was with me in poem 139. Um, and I just getting to work with so many wonderful women, like it was on something that I love and I'm very proud of. So it was, and everyone on it was so. Thank you, Chantal. Um, it's wonderful. Um, it was just, I mean, what you said in your bio like made me tear up, but it was a incredibly special
I
experience.
wasn't expecting it. I honestly wasn't. It was just another project that we were hobbling together, shoestring budget, and it was just everything about it was just magic.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't burst that bubble.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. I
really
will remember, I'm very grateful that I was encouraged slash pushed to get on the boat when we shot on the sailboats. Like, you should be on that boat. And I just, that will stick with me for a long. That was like, so Lake Huron was like glass, which is not a common occurrence in October, no less.
it was bonkers,
Yeah.
and then went back to its natural state of 2 days later.
I know. By the time we left, it was like, oh, okay, this is what they were taught, which I sort of knew because I went to college in Chicago. So Lake Michigan was there and I saw it,
Yeah,
change. But Lake Huron, I think, gets even more waves than Lake Michigan. So, like, oh, this is what Jess was worried about. I mean, I believed her. I knew she was worried for a reason.
yeah.
But, like, yeah, it was, it was incredible.
It was time just
Yeah.
stood still. Absolutely,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
perfect. And we were so lucky we had Diane to take such great photos.
No,
He's like
I know. They look like postcards.
each and every frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we're
Well,
screening soon, as soon as we can. But I guess
yes, we're working on it,
we're
of
working on
course. Yeah.
it.
Well, any any last thoughts before we say goodbye?
Great to see you.
You too.
Thank you again, like for giving me this assignment. And it was awesome. And I think that you've fired up a new journalist in me, or not,
Ah, yay! I know what you mean.
an investigative journalist.
Journaler. I knew what you meant.
Thank you.
But I was like, great, journalist. But yes, journal. Well, that's wonderful. I'm excited to see where it takes you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I will update you the next time I see you.
Okay, please do. Okay. Lovely to see you. Thank you to everyone who joined us and have a wonderful Sunday.
Thanks, Allison.
Bye.
Bye.